So if we could start this meeting by turning our attention.
Magdi, did you press the record button? I don't see it. Usually it starts.
Oh, yes, it is. It is
It
recording.
is? Okay, sorry.
Yes, it is. And hello, Gloriana. So let's turn our attention to our experience as it's appearing right now. The sound of the wind, the sensations in the body, whichever way they're appearing. Whatever thoughts may appear to you. Simply relaxing, resting as being. Being is always available to us. As it is that which I am. This present, aware, wondrous mystery of being that may appear as a song of a bird, may appear like the wind moving through the trees, that may appear as the sunshine, as the breath. Invite yourself to simply be without any need to do anything. Allowing being to appear whichever way it chooses to appear. Notice that throughout your experience, whichever form it's taking, I am present. I am this presence which is formless, shapeless. Borderless. That recognizes itself as I am. I recognize I am. I recognizes I as I am I. Inherent to I is self-recognition, effortless, without any doing, without any activity. I shines within itself as presence and as knowingness, awareness. This very I that I am is the peace of being. It has no opposite. Nothing that comes at it. It is borderless presence, impersonal, edgeless, the peace of being, the freedom, the love, the beauty. It appears as ah. And the raccoon, it appears as a raccoon. Without ever becoming anything. Invite yourself to sink deeper and deeper into being. That which you are. I am is universal. We all know I am. And this very I am, which is formless and colorless, while remaining formless and colorless, seemingly takes on the form of a body-mind. And as it takes on the form of a body-mind, it takes on the form of a personal perception, a personal mind that perceives an external world, or through which the I am perceives a seemingly personal world. As the I am, which is this borderless aware presence, seemingly contracts into a personal body-mind, it overlooks its infinity, its eternity, and experiences the sense of limitation and personhood. All along, in spite of this impression of limitation, the I am is the same I am. It is the same universal, eternal, borderless, aware presence. Notice that in this very moment, whatever it is that is perceived appears to you, you being this transparent, aware presence. Notice that these words that you are hearing, this hearing activity, is neither a female nor a male hearing. It's a genderless, transparent hearing, as if the transparency of presence is taken on the shape and the form of hearing. Notice that it is that very same aware presence, transparent, aware presence, that takes on the form, I love my mother. Takes on the form of whatever thought arises to you. Takes on the form of thinking, of feeling, of sensing, without ever becoming anything else than what it is. Transparent, aware presence. Turn your attention to the sensation of your body. Without labeling it, without naming it, without knowing it. Whichever way the sensation arises to you. Go to it with your entire being. Feel it, sense it. Invite it to express itself. Every subtle nuance of its expression, invite it to express itself freely, openly. Welcome it. Without knowing it, without labeling it, without remembering it, without comparing it. Without judging it. The sensation of your feet on the ground. Notice the spaciousness of I am at the heart of this sensation. Turn your attention to the gentle movement of breath. Without labeling it breath, without naming it, without knowing it. Without judgment. Sink deeply into it. Notice the vastness of I am at the heart of the breath, at the core of breathing. I am. This borderless, aware presence. The light of being. That shines through you as everything. As the sound of the wind, as the sensations within your body, as images and thoughts. Whenever you recollect I am, without labeling, without any add-on, you are contemplating the source. The source within you is contemplating itself through you, through itself, through you, its own creation. The source contemplates itself via the recollection of I am. Before the download, I am somebody. Before I am this or that. Before images of past and future. Before the limitations of memory and thinking. Imaginary limitations. Illusory limitations. And throughout your entire experience, I am is the source of being. That belongs to nobody and no one. That has no borders, no edges, no gender. And yet it is known through us as I, this aware, borderless presence. This simple recollection is home. This home is free from the impression of time and space. Is not looking for what's next. Is not wondering what is going to happen to me. It is at peace within itself. It is peace itself. Turn your attention to I am and sink deeply into it. Allow it to embrace your entire experience. Whichever form I am takes, do not be concerned. Remain with the I am. That is a formless, emness, formless beingness, knowingness, Sat-Chit-Ananda. There is nothing outside of yourself as emness. There is nothing outside of I, aware presence. Everything that arises is a modulation of I, aware presence. Take on the form of hearing. Take on the form of breathing. Take on the form of sensing, feeling. And take on the form of mind while remaining this transparency of being, which recognizes itself via your recognition of I, this transparent aware presence. Okay, well, maybe we could take the opportunity to explore whatever questions we have together here for the remaining time that we have. And you can pose your questions by unmuting yourself and or writing your question in the chat box.
Hi, Magni.
Hello, George.
Hi there.
Yes, sir, George.
You said something last time which really had an impact on me. It seemed that you'd never said it before, but you'd probably said it a half dozen times and I just never heard it before. Having to do with the universality of awareness. You asked me, am I aware? Of course, I say yes. But I'd always seen awareness as personal, as my awareness. I am aware. And what you said last time, you gave the example of two people seeing an oak tree. If you remember, these two people had different perceptions. They're in a different position with regard to this oak tree. And yet they agreed it was the same oak tree. And I really thought about that. And my first objection that came up, it's interesting how the mind works. I said, wait a second, that's just conditioning. Wait a second. When I was 3 years old, my mother told me that's an oak tree. And I've remembered that ever since. But I realized that objection is nonsense. Because how did my mother's vision of the oak tree then and my vision of the oak tree when I was 3 years old, how did the same problem? That doesn't answer the question. Then I came with another, I said, okay, materialism. The explanation is that there's a real materialistic oak tree out there. And I looked at that hypothesis. And first thing I realized is when I look at a round table, that table does not appear round to me unless I'm right above it. But if I look at an angle, it's oval, looks like an egg, whatever. So in terms of the oak tree, I have different perception of the oak tree regardless of my position relative to it. So that you and I can have different positions relative to the oak tree. And there's a materialistic oak tree there. But then I saw two objections to that hypothesis. First objection, as you have stated and everyone else has stated, there is no evidence for any external materialistic objects. The only thing I could ever know is my perceptions. So I know my perceptions, and I can only deduce and infer that there's some materialistic object out there causing them. But that's just an inference, no evidence for that. And then I noticed the second objection to the materialistic approach. I was taught in high school how we see. Well, there's this oak tree out there, and there are these photons that go off the oak tree, and then they go through the lens and they form an upside down image on the retina. And that's how we see. And then I learned, but the brain interprets that. There's the V1 area of the brain, visual one, which sees color, and there's another area of the brain which detects edges, and there's another area of the brain which detects motion, and that's a lot of stuff that's been discovered since then. But then I realized there are still problems. Problem number one, nobody knows how the brain puts all this together. But more importantly, the brain, if it exists at all, is a material object. If you're going to take the materialistic point of view, then the brain is material. It's a hunk of jelly-like mass.
Yes.
How can this hunk of jelly-like mass produce consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
That's known as the hard problem in consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see any possible answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
So that hypothesis is shot. And then what you said, okay, the other hypothesis is that awareness is universal, which is what you were trying to demonstrate.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it. I mean, it seemed to me very unlikely that awareness is universal. But then I look at this other possibility, and that's less likely. So it's like, yes, awareness must be universal. That is the only possible explanation. So firstly, I want to really thank you for that. I don't know why it took me so long to see that. And secondly, I'm sort of in a strange place now because I can see that and understand that, but I still don't grok it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I still don't grok it. Okay.
It's okay. It will grok itself through you, because whatever it is that will grok it is itself.
Yes.
Shining through you, via you, it will grok itself. So one could say that universal consciousness, via this particular body-mind, is in the process of so-called not grokking it, not grokking itself.
Yes.
That's fine. It's fine.
Yes.
But the understanding of that model, that all minds are precipitated from that same consciousness, so that there is a sort of some sort of agreement within minds that comes from beyond the mind, because within the mind it's very particular and very different. At the local level it's very particular, but given that it's precipitated from the same source, in spite of that particularity, in spite of that differentiation, there is a commonality, there is a recognition, but it's not at the level of the mind. It comes from, let's say, as a way of speaking, from beyond to the mind. So the grokking aspect of it, don't worry about it, because when the thought arises, I am not grokking it. In that moment, within that thought, the mind is referring to that personal consciousness. It's basically jumping from that new model that you got to the old model, and it's saying, okay, fine, I got that. Now I'm not grokking it, I'm not feeling it, but the I that thought is referring to is the old model I, the personal consciousness I.
Yes, I get that. The I that's not grokking it is the
Yeah.
personal consciousness.
Yes.
I get that.
Well,
This is Liam. This is amazing because when I hear you speak now, or even when I heard you speak earlier today, it was different. You started this with, you go on for 30 minutes, whatever, and you do that just about every time. And this time when I was listening to you, it was different. It's like, oh, huh, yeah,
mhm,
as opposed to, huh? What on earth is he talking about? I don't get it. So it's interesting. Also, I got to see the reality of the tree,
yes.
You said the tree is made out of consciousness. I would not have understand that. How can a tree be made out of consciousness? But now I get it. Of course the tree is made out of consciousness.
Yes.
What else?
Yes.
So anyhow, thank you. That's
Yes.
all I want to
Yeah.
say. Thank you.
A very good metaphor, that's somehow provided, of course, by consciousness is the dream state. How, in the dream, we actually do sort of become a butterfly.
Right,
but
yes.
it is the dreamer's mind, so there are a lot of metaphors that are available to us. And once you start getting it, you start to see through all these, you start to see a lot of metaphors in the universe.
Those metaphors that you gave made sense, but they really didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
And Rupert Spira always has this metaphor about the actor and playing this part. And, I can get the metaphor, but it doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah.
So what you said last time really clicked. I just want to thank you for that.
Okay, George, wonderful. I'm glad.
Thank you.
I'm glad. Any questions?
Hi, Magdi, John.
Hello, John.
I probably shouldn't have hit the speak so fast because now I have to form my question. But I think there's something there that seemed that wanted to be said. So you know, when you were doing the meditation ahead of time, um, and the birds were chirping, whatever was going on, and you smiled, and it kind of goes along with, I think, what George was saying in a way, as far as what is, at least my perception, what is true reality, what is our reality, and and I remember hearing the birds when probably the first person I started to listen to was Krishnamurti, and he'd always be up on a wooden stage somewhere. he'd, he'd be sitting on a chair and sharing, and the birds were always chirping, and and you smiled, and I thought about the idea of happiness and it being, like people use it as synonymous with our true being, uh, peace, stillness, whatever. Um, so it reminded me of where it isn't so much that the bird, because I may have heard something different, or see something different through this body, through this mechanism or whatever. But happiness is the same and the smile that came upon your face, and actually my smile, because I always smile whenever I hear the bird, probably because of Krishnamurti. But what's happening is realizing that this is on behalf of I, the happiness. And I'm only using those words because I've heard you use them and other people use them on behalf of, whether it's the personal mind or a person or consciousness. But I, it just, and then when George was talking and all that, it just came to me, this idea of the one reality. And yet it's so difficult when one is conditioned for a long time to believe that the source is coming from either myself or my mind or whatever. But there's only the one source, and that's reality. And so, and everything else is sort of, I don't know if you would say an illusion, but it would be, we all have our different views, and there's certainly collective agreement. Anyway, I just want to say that also, what do you guys use? Crocked or grokked or whatever? Grok with me is, where's the true source? And it's the I, and so the happiness and the reality is always I. So, and your meditation also was helpful. I just wanted to say that.
Yes, John. When the light is shining through a light bulb, whether it is light shining through a 40 amp bulb or a 60 amp bulb, whether it's shining through a bulb that's in the living room or shining through a bulb that is in the bedroom or in the garage, the light is the same light. It's the same source. It's the same grid that is shining as a laughter, as a sorrow, as the sound of the wind, as a regret, a feeling, a sensation, as a thought. It is the same source that shines, that appears, that lights itself, let's say, as a way of speaking, as our current experience. The recognition of that is an important recognition because it's a recognition of the source, of the universal source, the source of everything, which is quite different from our common understanding that I, this particular body, mind, brain organism, is generating experience, or is the thinker of the thoughts. In fact, one could say, as a way of speaking again, that this body mind is a conduit, let's say, for experience. But it is not that, it is not the body mind that experiences. It is I being this, that which shines through body minds, that which knows, that which perceives, that which is. that experiences. And that which experiences, that which truly experiences, the reality that experiences, is not actually made out of bits and pieces. It's not divided because minds are separate. When you are dreaming of a flock of 20 birds flying, you are actually not divided. You, the dreamer, are not actually divided in 20 objects. And the recognition that I am the wholeness comes hand in hand with the recognition of the peace, of the freedom, of wholeness, which is very different from the sense of vulnerability that we experience as a personal self. As a personal self, we're experiencing personal worries and concerns and hopes and disappointments and the sense of mortality and worry about, I am the body, how is my body doing? We are experiencing a personal sense of separation, which is overshadowing, in a way, the reality of our borderless beingness. This is why we say it's a path of happiness. It's about happiness. And there is a certain understanding that realigns the mind, and also that has to also be sort of lived, has to live itself, permeate our being, our body, mind, our experiential state, that relieves us from ignorance of our true nature, of the illusion of separation.
Yeah, it's you know, these things can come and go for me, a personal, the mind and the thoughts, and the way that the mind just sort of rubber bands back to itself. But it's so true that many times what happens, like I told you the one time that you shared something, and other things happen and things click, or we say grok or something. But what's also realized too, in a way of speaking it, is saying that it's not a, it doesn't appear to be a recognition. I mean, I don't know what grokked means, but I'm assuming it means like it's something, it set in and it connected it, you caught it or something,
Yes, yes,
caught on.
yes.
But but it's in reality, I don't think it's the mind, you know, even though the mind is expressing it in a conceptual way, but it's more that the mind has shut up. And I don't mean in a rude way, shut up, but it, it's quieted, it stopped. And somehow it's what I hear people always saying, it's the non-phenomenal. So it's there's and also some people say the felt sense, you know, that comes up, that phrase comes up, the felt sense of I am. But it's beyond all words. It's just, I think I like the word that you use, is the living, the you know, I think in a religion, there was a, when I grew up in the Christian religion, and they use the word either gnosis or knowledge, and I think somehow that connects to some degree. I don't know about the religious stuff so much, but it's the knowledge of I am. It's just that it's not, it isn't the personal mind. And so
Right.
that's all. You can only say so much about that. I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Hola,
Hola, Emmanuel.
me again.
Hello, Emmanuel.
Ready for the second part of our last.
I'm bracing myself. Easy on us.
Okay.
Okay, Emmanuel.
So, okay, I am, and oh wait. I, uh, do you hear me now?
Yes, I do.
Wait. What
But,
is okay. Okay. So, I am, and I am aware, right?
mhm.
So being and the quality of being aware, they are one, right? It's not possible like being without awareness.
Right. Being is aware of being and aware that it's aware. Yes.
Because for example, with the phrase or this kind of word, Sat-Chit-Ananda, let's keep Ananda on one side.
Yes.
There is Sat and there is Chit,
Yeah.
meaning being and awareness, right?
Yes.
But why is it somehow divided or mm,
It's only divided as a tool of pointing. You know, it's only as a way of teaching or sharing. In fact, they're not two.
yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, there is no being without awareness. There's no awareness without being. They're like facets of the same coin. They're two facets of the same coin. But in terms of they're not divided. They're one.
Mm. It's just that, for example, when I say I am aware,
Awareness is to say, just awareness is insufficient, because it hasn't yet realized itself within you, within being. So you could say awareness is, yes, there is awareness, but it's insufficient. And to say, yes, there is being, there is manifestation, there is being, there is presence, also in itself is not sufficient, because the knowingness brings it home. So just awareness is, or beingness is, of their own, like if you separate them, if you say, let's just contemplate, only awareness is, there is awareness.
Yeah.
Without bringing amness, without the sat
Element.
or the sat, without the light of knowingness, it is insufficient. Is not the full expression of reality, let's say, whatever, of that, of the inexpressible. It's not the full expression of the inexpressible. And the Ananda is, without the Ananda, the Sat-Chit hasn't yet fully realized itself. Without the peace of being, it's still grokking itself. Like George was saying, it's still grokking itself within your experience. And at some point, there is the fullness which is expressed as Sat-Chit-Ananda.
Okay. They are like the kind of the three aspects of the same.
There are, Sat-Chit-Ananda is the most, well, not the most, let's say, because I don't want to make any such claim, but it is a very succinct, a very to the point expression or way of formulating the entire teaching. The entire teaching. So Sat without Chit and Chit without Sat are incomplete, and Sat and Chit together without Ananda is incomplete.
Yeah, the Ananda is the factor that is missing now.
Well, yes, there are some teachings that I've come upon in the past, but I'm not pointing to anybody in particular, that speak Sat-Chit, and they say, no, Ananda is something else.
Okay.
We can get Sat-Chit, but we can still be unhappy. No, it's about happiness. And Ananda is not possible without the Sat-Chit. But the Sat-Chit can be possible without the Ananda. And that's not the full teaching. That's not the full revelation.
Yeah. And it also, like, yesterday was like the first time that it was so clear, the fact that not only that I am aware, but that I am awareness, that only awareness can be aware.
Beautiful.
You know, I mean, it's so obvious. Only awareness can be aware.
Only awareness can be aware.
And it really, like, struck me in the positive sense.
Yes.
And even, like, I remember that I was cooking last night and I was, like, you know, like digesting this, and I say, yes, I'm awareness. It's so obvious. And then there was this sense of spaciousness or lightness.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't like a bomb. It's just very subtle peace and calm, stillness.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was very beautiful. it seems that it faded somehow, and like the tendency
No,
of feeling here in this body and the gross sensations of being, you know. But then I say, okay, it's okay. It's just the tendency going on, you know. It's okay. It's normal.
you
But
know,
there is something deeper that I can't deny. You know, like I know that I am awareness.
yeah,
I know that there are some things that are still missing, you know, that there is more to it, more to discover. But this is a good start, you know. It's a wonderful recognition.
yes. The only awareness is aware. That which is not awareness is whatever it is non-awareness. And whatever it is that is not non-awareness cannot be aware. A body cannot be aware, a thought cannot be aware, an image cannot be aware.
And can't be. I mean, there isn't anything other than awareness.
Yes, yes. Now, you say something is missing. So something is missing appears to you, you know.
Yeah.
It appears to you as a sensation, as a thought. It is, consider that right now, awareness is playing through you. It's playing through you via your body, which is its playground.
Mm-hmm.
It's playing through through the playground, which is really belongs to her.
Yeah.
Playing something is missing, and it's appearing as thoughts of something is missing, as feeling as something is missing. You see, so that you allow the play of consciousness. You are open to the play of consciousness to express itself whichever way, to appear, to dream to itself whichever way it wishes to. And you, as that recognition, because you're sharing a recognition that only awareness is aware and I am aware. Go back to I am aware. Not go back to I am aware in order to blah, blah, blah. No,
Yeah.
because there is the understanding that,
Or even to go back to what I was experienced last night. Like, okay, I'm going to be aware to have the same sensation that I was feeling last night of peace and blah blah blah, because it has become a story, you know. It's just
yes, Emmanuel, you know, when there is an understanding, the understanding is not an experience, but the understanding shifts the mind. It affects the mind, and at the mind level there is an experience. But the understanding is not the experience that occurs at the mind level. The experience that occurs at the mind level of peace or happiness or whatever, you know, it's not the understanding. It is the effect of the understanding on the mind, which passes, which is a passing effect. The understanding, the mind cannot get that understanding. The mind gets affected by the understanding, but the understanding does not belong to the mind. The mind tries to make a formulation about the understanding. The mind generates a story, a commentary, a point of view, or some formulation of the understanding. But the mind's formulation of the understanding is not correct because the mind is absent during the understanding. The understanding affects the mind. And then the mind,
it permeates the mind.
it comes to the mind. The mind realizes that something has shifted, and and the body feels it. The body mind feels it. And in your case, you're expressing that you felt like I don't know, let's say at peace, and it may, whatever it is, the way you worded it is fine. But that is just an effect.
Okay.
That's fine. If you attach yourself to effects, then you are giving yourself an unnecessary burden. It's an unnecessary burden to attach yourself to any effect. It's like you eat a nice dinner. You have a nice effect, which is your enjoyment of the dinner. You say, wow, it was really great, nice glass of wine, but I had a really wonderful time. But if you attach yourself to that effect, it's an unnecessary.
Okay.
You follow? You may have another dinner tomorrow, or you may have, you may not have a nice dinner like that for another month. I don't know. We don't know. You don't know. I don't know. Or you may have a great dinner after tomorrow, like even better than this one. And then that would have also an effect, a different effect on the body mind. But to pivot or to spin around the effect is not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah, I see that there is, and I see that there is kind of a trap there, like a mind trap, like some kind of attachment to an experience, and
Yes.
like, oh, I want to go back there and experience that again, because now it seems that the experience is more in the background or whatever, but yeah, I understand.
Well, I mean, yes, at the body-mind level.
Let it go. It just is past,
Yeah, at the body-mind level, things pass. Like your memory of dinner, of your enjoyment you had at dinner last night, over time it passes.
Mm-hmm.
But the nourishment, okay, that's a metaphor. The nourishment that your body needed got delivered.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding is like that. I mean, as a metaphor, okay? The nourishment that you needed got delivered. The effect was that you experienced transparency, you were floating or whatever. But that's just an effect, which will pass for sure.
Maybe it was because of the wine.
Okay. Now you are spilling the beans, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So what I also wanted to share is that there is an understanding now that only awareness is aware. And there is also the understanding, which is very simple understanding, I am aware. Right now, I'm aware. So then the I that is aware is awareness itself, that is referring to itself as I.
Mm-hmm.
Just whenever you feel simpatico, go to that. Just what we just not for any purpose. Just go to that because it's truth. There is truth in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I just wanted to deepen maybe a little bit more in this understanding,
Yes.
because it's
Keep turning your attention whenever, don't do it like as an exercise, but out of love to I, this moment, I is awareness. I, awareness, I'm aware. I'm aware of this perception. I'm aware of the sensation of my feet on the ground. And I'm aware that I is. And I'm aware that I, this awareness, I'm aware that I'm aware. And I'm also aware that the I that is aware is awareness.
Mhm.
Go to the feeling of it. Go to the sense, the sensory experience of awareness, of being awareness. Whatever, whichever way it appears to you, it's okay. Go to the experience of being aware, not just the thinking, which is okay,
Yeah, yeah.
but the
Or
experiential aspect.
the sensing aspect of.
Yes, like the yoga of awareness.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Merci.
Ok, de rien, de nada. Qué rico.
Magdi,
Hello?
Jenny,
Hola, Jenny. ¿Cómo está, Jenny? Yes, Jenny.
hi.
Hello, Jenny.
I wanted to ask about the subtle ways the I thought comes in, you know, because I see now the need of really, really paying attention to that. I observe myself, I go through these periods of wonderful joy, which are very long, and suddenly it stops because I took an idea and believed in it, and I'm not even aware,
Mhm.
And then in trying to get out of there, I ask like, okay, who is this me? That doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It is like in some way, without noticing, I am putting attention to the little me. That's what I think I'm doing when that happens. Instead of paying the attention to the awareness and seeing that I'm taking an idea that is of no value.
Yes, yes,
That's more or less what I wanted to talk about.
yes. Jenny, it's at the feeling level that we are feeling unhappy when
Mm-hmm.
when there are some thoughts about, I don't know, me, my work, my life, my this, my that, whatever it is, and there are then the thought sort of progresses into making more images, then at the feeling level, we feel the contraction, we feel
Mm-hmm.
the unhappiness,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what we struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I am struggling with myself, within myself. I don't want to feel what is feeling, what is being felt. I don't want to feel this. And I know, I remember there is a memory of a different feeling where this feeling is not there, that I'm feeling now is not there. I have a memory of happy, whatever, and which makes being with this feeling even more difficult because of something else that I know. And so I'm struggling with my own experience. And there are only so many people struggling is you, yourself, yourself, and you. There is nobody else here struggling. It's an internal struggle. But what is it within you that is struggling? And with what? Is that thing that's whatever it is that is within you that is struggling? When you take a look, there is a sensation. And something within you is saying no, is labeling it, is judging it, is now searching for a way out of it, away from to is searching for a way
Out of it.
out of what is. And there is no way out of what is. The way out is in, you know, that saying, which you know very well. The way out is in meaning to see the futility and the not necessary struggle of I with I. Rather than remembering a better experience, or rather than knowing something else and looking for something else, to just sort of dive in it, to go rather than go at the edges of it, and hopefully you will be okay, to dive completely in it, to embrace the whole thing, every nuance of it, every flavor of it, every shadow and shade of it, every sensation of it, to have it, even if it's in your hair, it's in the tip of your nails, in the tip of your toes, to a complete, just complete embrace every aspect of it, so completely, so totally, that there isn't any bit of it that is still standing outside of yourself. It's completely love it. Completely love it. Like the greatest love that you have, to completely love it with the greatest love that you have. And you cannot love an image. You cannot love a label. You cannot love an idea. You can only love when you drop all the labels, all the images, all the ideas, all the memories, all the names, all the recollection. You drop it all in your love for what is going on, in your complete stepping fully, you're completely naked, completely total into it. And so that when we are loving, all there is love. There cannot be any issue. There is no issue in love. And if love is picking and choosing, then you are sometimes loving this and it's beautiful, but around the corner, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe the day after, around the corner is that thing that you are holding back, that you don't love.
Well, yes, exactly. That's my experience, because I absolutely try to do what you're talking about. And maybe I don't do it completely. Could be because around the corner, for example, yesterday, I had an idea that was around the corner. I was taking that, believing. So at a moment in satsang, yesterday satsang, of course, I was already had been with the sensation and everything. But at satsang, I could see I was taking the idea. I was believing in idea and living with that idea in a completely centered, self-centered way. And that,
Yes.
so everything disappeared.
Yes. You know, Jenny, so because the human body mind loves to play, to act, to be active, to plan, to build, it's part of, you know, how we are. It's like the ants, you know, they're constantly building this and moving this, and this is how we are. Because of this aspect of the human, how we are, then it's normal to be working that way towards this and towards that. But out of the wisdom and out of the intelligence, we don't have our happiness depend on that. So we play, we explore, we do, but we remain open to the infinite possibilities of the universe. Whichever way the universe will play it, will play with us or through us. It may play through us, you know, that our plans and our what we are hoping for and what we are working towards will work, boom, 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 perfectly, even better. Or it may, we may start in this direction and it'll take us totally different direction. But the important thing to understand is that it's not about our happiness. Our happiness is not about that. Is not about that. Play, yes, we play and we rejoice in play, and you know, but it's not about that. It's not about a worldly experience or a worldly situation or a body situation or a mind situation. The worldly situation, the body situation, the mind situation is a mind situation, is a play, a form of play and celebration and exploration, and sometimes disappointment. Oh, it didn't work out. Disappointment. Okay, fine. Well, okay. Well, that's c'est la vie. That's life. You see, but the happiness. So when we are feeling unhappy, that means we have put some importance beyond, outside of ourselves. We have put some importance beyond what is required. You see, our happiness, we never leave it. We never leave it because we are it. We never. Consciousness is not trying to have a better world, is not trying to improve anything. It is via the human mind that it plays sometimes improving things, but sometimes it plays destruction. I mean, wars, and it plays jealousy, it plays anger. See, even in the earth, consciousness plays beautiful gardens with fruit and mangoes and papayas, etc. But sometimes it plays a volcano. It does a volcano, and nothing can grow around that for 100 miles. You see, so what I'm trying to share, Jenny, is that happiness is not an experience, a worldly experience.
But what you're saying is like that I need to see that I am attached to that happiness.
Yes, you are putting the happiness outside of yourself on a condition. And it may happen that
how I was seeing is that I am that happiness, but when I am believing I am in a threat economically, let's say. So I believe that I can be in a threat economically. So I, in that moment, thought I am identified with the little me.
Well, you know,
So that in the moment I am afraid of economy, then I am identified with my little me. So happiness goes away.
yes. Well, you know, there may be some economic situation or health situation or other situations at the body-mind level. And of course, your business as the manager of the body-mind is to do your best, to try to do your best for that situation. And but you know that everything at the world body mind level is relative. We can plan everything really well, which is our business, and we can apply ourselves as best as we can, which is our business. And something comes out of left field. The virus comes out of left field, and all our plans, all our effort, all our gets affected, gets changed. So at the world body mind level, we do our best, and it's our business to do our best. But as you said, when you place your happiness based on the world body mind, at that moment you have identified yourself with the conditions. You have made your happiness conditional.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And so it's good to see that, because when you see that, you get an understanding. Okay, that's a process that's happening. Because when you see this process, the you that sees that process is intelligence, is wisdom. Mm-hmm. That which perceives, that which understands, is beyond the object that it understands. It perceives. So when there is understanding of this process, that understanding is as good. That's understanding has its effect. It adjusts the situation. Mm-hmm. And from the tendency of the mind that once it identifies itself with a certain personal mind, then it is constantly perceiving through those eyes. It's perceiving through the eyes of all events are personal. They're personal. Mm-hmm. How are they affecting me? Mm-hmm. And from that perspective, mm-hmm. everything that you perceive mm-hmm. is either being a positive thing for you, or either a negative thing for you. Mm-hmm. And so it creates too much of a division and too much of a chopping. You know, you become one day happy, 2 days unhappy, 3 days happy. It's too, because the events are constantly changing.
Okay. So that what needs is to be able to see.
Yes.
How the identification is happening.
Yes. What is I? When you say I, in this moment,
what is it?
What do you refer
to? What is?
When you say I, you go to the feeling of I, to the sense of I. I, the sensation appear, it may appear, hearing may appear, but I is vast, is vast. Go to the feeling, to the sense of I, and hang there. You know what do you say? Hang there. Hang out there. Hang out. Sense of I. You know, and thoughts may appear. It's okay. They're like passing, like birds flying by. They appear. Keep returning to the sense of I, the feeling of it, the experiential sense of I. Mm-hmm. I I presence, I am, I is, I, formless, no name, has no age, has no, just that borderless presence. Just keep going to the sense of I in your experience. So that's the piece of being is this I. Whatever sensations arise in your body, give them all the space that they need. All the space. Complete, welcoming, breathing, being. Okay, well, thank you all. Very lovely.
Thank you, Maggie.
Aina, very lovely to see you, Kelly, Jenny, Zoe, Esther, beautiful. Emmanuel and Maria, beautiful to see you, Maria. George and John, thank you, John.
Namaste.
Gloriana, Nexus 7, and Alan, lovely to see you, Alan. And Rashmi, Malcolm, thank you, Malcolm.
Thank you, Magdi.
Yes, thank you all. And Omar, I will have to take your question next time. Thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Magdi.
Oh, Jack is there too.
Yes.
Oh, Jack. Hello, Jack.
Hello.
Hey, Jack. Oh, hello, Jack.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Yes, Jack. Very lovely to see you.
I'm going to take
Yes, hope all is well. Yes. Yes.
in here.
Okay, beautiful to see you, Jack. Very lovely to see you, Jack. Very, very lovely. Okay,
Thank you, Magdi.
thank you.